On Monday night, town meeting members gathered to vote on 16 articles. The meeting started with the news that 2 articles related to the zoning at 256 Lenox Street were being referred back to the petitioner and that no vote would be needed on either article. With those off the table, town meeting got to work on the rest of the articles. The main purpose for calling the fall special town meeting is to approve the capital plan for the upcoming year. Town meeting approved the $14.5 million requested by the Capital Outlay Committee and Board of Selectmen with limited discussion. After that article, town meeting members discussed at length the movement of receipts from the automatic meter reading reserve fund to reduce the need to raise water rates. Former town moderator and current town meeting member David Hearn did not support this article.
20 years ago, that we would collect a fee and we would replace meters on a regular schedule. And 10 years was the maximum life of a water meter. My meter is 21 years old. So my question is, why are we taking money out of this fund that we should have been using over the last 20 plus years to lower water rates, which is really sort of a shell game with, you pay less in water rates, because that's something that has to be voted on by one of our boards. But the money that we were told and that we voted for would be used for this particular purpose hasn't been used. Because I haven't had a new meter in 21 years, and I confirmed that with Public Works the other day. So I question the wisdom of taking money away from a program that we should have been doing and need to do, and putting it to reduce the water rates when we promised town meeting something else in May of 2002. So that is my question, why are we doing this? And why aren't we replacing the meters?
Town Manager Tony Mazzucco explained why this article was necessary and how it was correcting past accounting practices.
Fortunately, through the body, for the better part of those 20 years, we treated the meter fund as just a revenue to the general fund. We practiced a single fund accounting, and this body has approved the change to that, where we listed all of our expenses on one side and all of our revenues on the other side, and they never actually tied together. The purpose of moving to an enterprise fund as we have is to finally actually tie our meter fund to the actual cost of replacements of meters and running the back-end system. So for 20 years, this body's approved budgets where it was just a revenue to the general fund. About 2 or 3 years ago, the selectmen approved an increase in the rate, and that allowed the fund to actually build up some money beyond the number that had been plugged into the budget and had been used to balance the budget for the better part of 10 or 15 years or more. So by doing that, which is actually Article 11, we're taking money out of that fund to spend on the actual replacement of meters. When the budget has been built, both for this year, for last year, and going back 10 or 15 years, it's always been treated as just one revenue. When the town would replace meters, whether it was the money in the water sewer budget, or there have been some small borrowing, it was always just assumed that, well, we collect the meter fee, so if we have to borrow money or spend free cash on meters or other related replacements, it's there. We have never tied them directly together. We are finally almost at the point of tying them directly together. And to your point, should the money go to the meters and not to the water rates? Sure, we're trying to clarify that by moving everything into a single fund. But as I said, Article 11 will actually take the money that's in the fund out to actually begin replacing water funds. Now, to your other point that you made earlier, should it have been used on the meters and not the rates? Sure, we could have gone back 15 years ago and done that differently. It is to a certain extent 6 one way, half a dozen the other way, because the water rates or the tax levy would have otherwise absorbed that cost increase. I agree with you that it hasn't been great accounting. That's why we're moving to an enterprise fund to actually finally clarify it. This year, incidentally, is the first year we are properly having the water sewer department actually pay the light department for its portion of billing, as an example. So we are cleaning up long-standing accounting practices that were not best practices, and we're taking another step. Article 10 is just a technical correction to the budget that was approved in May, and if it were to not pass, it could certainly not pass, it would just be an increase in the water rates in the middle of the year to adjust for it.
Town meeting members voted in favor of moving the funds. Following that vote, town meeting spent almost an hour debating the purchase of 3 properties on Washington Street adjacent to the Coakley Middle School and Haas parking lot. Board of Selectman Bob Donnelly explained his thought process in supporting the article.
I can report that when this was first surfaced, I had my doubts. Much of what I'm hearing tonight came to my mind as well. Upon further discussion and a little more information coming to the table, I've come to the conclusion that these purchases are worth our investing. It did not come out of left field. And, we did have a discussion. I was not on the Coakley Middle School Committee last year, but there was a discussion last year. Not a formal vote, but certainly words were expressed when the plan came up for a discussion that if the time was right, it would be an opportunity that the town should not pass up to purchase these properties. Given the investment of $150 million for the Coakley Middle School, the new fields that are going to be there, the fact that we're going to have a 25% increase in student population on that land, as well as the $4.5 million that we are now investing, or probably will be investing in next year's capital plan for the Haas Pool. This is a very active part of town now. It will increase and become more so in the future. So it may seem speculative, and I don't think it causes a leap of faith to say that where these properties are, adjacent to the recreational areas that are so desirable in this town, the fact that we do have a $150 million project going on there for construction of a new middle school, it doesn't take a leap of faith to say that there is not value for the town to acquire these properties. Now, as for timing, the reason it is timing for now is because they are available for purchase. If we do not purchase them, if we vote this down, those properties will could be going on to sale to another property owner, and we will have lost our opportunity to acquire space, acquire land that could be valuable for recreational and educational purposes. Yes, they are to be determined, but it doesn't take a leap of faith to realize that they have great potential. So I stand by my vote, and I still support it, and I would advocate that the members vote favorably for these purchases. Thank you.
At the end of the debate, town meeting voted to approve the purchase of 2 of the 3 properties. 2 owners had reached tentative agreements with the town. The third owner has not shown any interest in selling to the town. Town meeting wrapped with a vote to approve $250,000 to develop a master plan that would help guide future decisions made by all town government officials, employees, and town meeting. The full town meeting is available on the NCM government channel and on demand at nodecommunitymedia.org.